This podcast encourages and empowers you to create your own unique real story, develop your own unique real statement, and discover your own unique real self. The power is yours. Good night, Dr. Trevor Blattner. How are you doing on this wonderful, beautiful night?
Doing great. How are you?
I'm excellent. Thanks for asking. What part of the world are you in right now?
I am in the Midwest, United States. So I'm right in the middle in Missouri, just a bit south of St. Louis.
Sweet. The food is great there, isn't it?
Absolutely. Yeah, very good. The weather is okay. You know, it's springtime here. The beginning of spring, so we're excited to get a little warm weather.
That's great. Well, tell me, which of your talents is responsible for us connecting at this specific time in history?
Yeah, so I have a podcast. It's called the Top 1% podcast, and I interview Fortune 500 CEOs, New York Times bestselling authors, and global influencers. One of my guests was Teresa de Grosbois, and she introduced me to you, and the rest is history.
Love it. Teresa's amazing, isn't she?
She is amazing, very giving person, and really good at what she does. And so I always trust any connections that she makes. She's very gifted at it. So yes, I'm very appreciative of her and her work. So.
Yes, she is. So, all right. So let's talk about friendship then. It seems as though you're the guy that trusts individuals. You're the guy that lives in friendships, good friendships. Who did you learn that from?
Ooh, that's a good question. Well, you know, I have a grandfather who I actually call Pawpaw. I don't call him Grandpa. So, but he was kind of a pretty influential figure in my life as a kid, and he has a good group of close friends. A lot of them are friends that he is in Bible studies with, and golfing buddies and things like that. And so I would say that probably his looking up to him as a kid and sort of seeing how it was okay to be a tough guy and still have close friendships as a man was kind of important and impactful for me. So.
That's intriguing. So why will you continue to be that guy, though? Being that guy, as you said, being the tough guy and still having the soft side can create challenges, right? But why will you be that guy nevertheless?
Yeah, well, I mean, part of it too, I think as I've gotten older, I have 3 little girls. So they're 6'4". Thank you. 6'4" and 16 months today. So, that I never thought I'd be a dad with only girls, but it's you look at life differently, and so I guess it sort of opens up the softer side, when you have girls, and so I think it's important for them to see me as a caring person, somebody that cares about other people and feelings and emotions of other people, but still a provider and still a leader. Of the family at the same time. So, as I've gotten older, I think friendship has been something that has been more and more important, and I've made more of a priority in life. Hasn't always been that way, but we learn as we get older, I think.
Yeah.
Anytime.
It's really cool. Your voice changed when you said that right there. I think you probably came closer to the mic, but yeah, it sounded really large. Like we learn as we get older.
Yeah. That's true. I don't know how in the world it happened, but I must have hit the right spot.
You definitely did. So tell us about the podcast. Come on, what are you doing there?
Yeah, so I have always been, my passions in life have always been learning and growing and teaching. And so I thought, if I really want to reach out to the people that are at the highest level in the world, the perfect platform for that would be a podcast. So I initially put the podcast together to try to, to build relationships with people like yourself and other influential primarily business leaders and influencers, really just to get insights into how they've built their careers. Because for me, I've always had a really deep interest in people that are at the highest level of what they do, how have they gotten there, and what are the most important lessons they've learned along the way. And I also think that as human beings, we are very prone to limit ourselves and what we're capable of doing. And I think self-doubt and lack of confidence is a big part of that. But I think that learning from people that have done it it helps us break through some of those barriers. So that's been kind of the drive behind the podcast. And as I've done it, it's helped me build more relationships around the personal development, business world, and it's been really exciting. I've been doing it about 8 months now. So.
Sweet.
Yeah.
You've done a ton. You've almost hit episode number 40, right? Which is
our next episode will be number 40. Yeah. With any luck, I'll get to the 2,300-ish mark.
I'm sure you could,
but it's going to be a little while.
Well, I'm sure you could. I'm sure you could if you wanted to. But yeah, doing what you're doing, the way you're doing it, is really important. And I think as podcasters, it's really important to do that. Tell me one other thing that you've done consistently over the last 3 years.
Well, interestingly, I'm an endodontist. So most people listening probably don't know what that is, but I'm a root canal specialist. So I have built my own practice and started it from the ground up about 6 years ago. So my normal day job is treating patients and building the practice. And then I do the podcast in addition to that. And I've recently started to do some one-on-one business coaching, with other highly driven professionals to help them, grow their businesses as well.
How does it make you feel to see the way you're combining things? It's like the upper teeth and the lower teeth, right?
It is. Yeah, no, it's, many people will probably look at those things as unrelated, but I think that, it's all learning and it's all, gathering knowledge. And for me, all of it makes me feel excited when I see anytime I can help other people, whether that's through alleviating their toothache, or whether that's through helping them, gain a larger vision for their business and what's possible in their own life. Both of those things give me a lot of joy and fulfillment. So.
Suggest to someone that's listening why they should do what you've done. I've found many individuals who have a day job, and they really don't express it the way you did, right? Yeah. Sometimes they're ashamed of it. Why would you suggest they do what you've done by combining the both and ensuring that you have that balance in there?
Yeah, I think that's a great point that you raised. Is maybe people are ashamed of whatever their passion is, and I think that we've all got something inside of us that's calling us. We've all got desires, and I think we're all wired in a certain way. And it's important to know your values. What are the things that are the most important to you in life? And I think if you can really hone in on those values, it'll only bring you more joy and more fulfillment to allow those to come into reality in your own life, whatever that looks like, for any individual person. For me, it was starting a podcast, but for other people, it may be, maybe doing triathlons, it may be, fishing, whatever those things are. I think it's important to fit them into your life if they're meaningful to you, and it's something that will just add to your life. It won't take away.
Totally agree. Where's the best place for someone that's listening to connect with you, Trevor?
Yeah, so I would say the first place I would send them would be our website. It's just thetop1%.com, spelled out. And on the website, you can find our podcast. The podcast is called The Top 1% Podcast, and it's on iTunes, Stitcher, Spotify, all of the big podcast platforms. Those are the two main places I would send people. They can also check me out on Instagram. At Dr. Trevor Blattner is the Instagram handle. So those would be the easiest places to check out what's going on with us.
Love it. All right. Well, Dr. Trevor Blattner, let's switch gears for a moment. Let me now invite you into my time machine that is surrounded with beautiful, warm, blue Caribbean water. Trevor, what's your earliest childhood memory?
Great question. This is going to blow people away, but when I was a kid, my passion was the World Wrestling Federation. So I used to watch. I was addicted to like Hulk Hogan and Andre the Giant and Macho Man Randy Savage, and so I would sit and watch for hours WrestleMania and all of those big events back in the '80s that were such a huge deal. And for some reason, that's the first memory that pops to mind, is me as like a 2 or 3 year old kid laying on the floor watching Hulk Hogan body slam Andre the Giant.
That's super cool. Why do you think it's so clear though, that particular memory?
Yeah, that's really interesting. I think some of it is I've always been a very competitive person, and that was probably my earliest memory of what I perceived as competitive sports. I know now that it wasn't real, but at the time it seemed very real to me. So,
yeah.
But I think that's just maybe that competitive nature that is sort of innate in my personality that comes to mind pretty quickly.
Yeah. Well, I'll go with that. Yeah, I'll go with that.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. You don't sound competitive, but
really good. Well, good. So I'm not overly intimidating on the interview. Then that's good.
Yeah. Well, I've learned that you need to get to know someone better before the thing you think is concretized. So let's see. Let's see.
Yeah. We'll have to meet in person, and we'll be able to know.
I'm sure we will.
On a deeper level. That's right.
Yeah, and I think like getting onto your podcast is going to create the platform where I'm in your ring, metaphorically speaking. And there it is.
I'll really get you. I'll put you in a corner, and see how you respond.
Trevor, if we fast forward to when you were 12 years old, what was your favorite song?
Oh, no question. Bohemian Rhapsody by Queen. Queen's my favorite band, and that was my favorite Queen song at the time.
All right, my friend. I think, yes, in fact, so the person that invited you to the podcast, it was actually her favorite song at the age of 12.
No kidding.
Yeah, got chills there.
I did not even know that. That is completely random. Wow.
Yeah, it's amazing. All right, my friend. Well, we've arrived at our destination, but before we get off of this time machine, there's a small declaration form, so it's yes or no. We're going to move pretty quickly here. Are you ready?
Yes.
Trevor, have you chosen someone to pass on your skills to?
I have. It'll be my children and the people that I work with.
Are you married?
I am.
All right. Do you believe in God?
Absolutely.
Do you have an inner circle of friends?
I do.
Do you watch TV for more than 3 hours a day?
No.
How about 3 hours a week?
Probably not.
What about screen time, the phone and the computer? Is it more than 8 or less than 8 hours a day?
Definitely less.
All right. If you had to share with us your own unique, real statement, a statement that represents who you are, Dr. Trevor Blattner, what would you say that is?
That's good. I would say that I think we're all, as human beings, I think we're all created in the image of God, and I think that part of our role while we're here on Earth is to try to express that in whatever way we can, and get the most out of our time here. So I think that involves pushing through our perceived limitations and recognizing that we're limitless if we hone in on the things that are calling us forward and pushing us toward our greatest self.
Love it. Definitely love it. All right, my friend. Well, this has been such a great pleasure. Before you leave, is there anything else you'd like to share with our amazing audience?
Oh, absolutely. I just would like to say thank you to you for having me on, and would love to connect with anyone that's willing on social media or have them check out the podcast.
Again, Dr. Trevor Blattner, thank you for being on What is Inspired by 12-Minute Convos with Angel Jones.
This segment has been brought to you by Amazel Enterprise.